Of course, Noctua will surprise us each time they announce or they release a new cooler, right? Is it a fan? Is it our CPU tower cooler? It really doesn't matter. They always do surprise us. And right here we have the second version, the second generation of this one. This is the NH-D15, and this right here is NH-D15 G2, which means it's supposed to be an upgraded version of the older model. And I did take that for a test, and it's quite interesting. I mean, what you're going to see is something that I honestly didn't expect. I honestly didn't. I did expect it to be better, but what it did and what it created in the results, in the benchmarks, is quite outstanding. So, yeah, this is what they do. They really put loads of time into perfecting their products just to push the boundaries and create a new king of CPU tower coolers, and this is what we got. This is an outstanding CPU tower cooler, without a doubt. But we're going to go into details. You really do need to know what's this and what does this have that this one doesn't. Basically, what they state is that the G2 can achieve a couple of degrees lower thermals. Since I'm using AMD processor in this benchmark, we're not going to see that drastic lower thermals as much as we're going to see difference in clock speed and the difference in actual scores. They have optimized asymmetrical fin stacks. This means that they are optimized to best utilize the superior airflow and pressure performance of the NF A1425R G2 fans. Now, as you can see from a close-up, they actually do look completely different, and they have different fins, but we'll get to that part later on. Now we have 8 heat pipes, which of course increase thermal capacity and can cool down CPUs at 250 watts and even above that. So this will, I mean, the older one did that as well, but we're gonna see some not minor difference. We're going to see difference, of course, but we'll get to that part. Now we have an offset designed for better PCI clearance, which means that the G2 is offset towards the upper edge of the motherboard in order to increase the clearance towards the PCI slots. This enables it to clear the top PCI slot on the most current motherboards, which is okay. Then we also have the offset mounting for AMD AM5. So this comes in play where it kind of targets that certain point on the AMD processor, which is a bit lower. It's not in the middle, as you already know, which kind of lowers down, and not kind of, it actually does. And I did test that in some other Noctua coolers and even other that have offset mounting for their CPU coolers, that they actually do perform better with that offset. Some have 2, some have 5, and Noctua has 7 millimeters. So I guess Noctua with 7 millimeters kind of did that perfectly right. So we have two NF A1425RG2 fans, which are 140, 140, 25. We have SSO2 bearing, 4-pin PWM connection, and the max rotational speed is 1500 RPMs. Max rotational speed with the LNA is 1250. Maximum airflow is 155.6 cubic meters per hour. With the LNA is 127.1, maximum acoustical noise is 24.8 decibels, and with the LNA is 19.7. The mean time before failure is 150,000 hours. Now the measures of the heatsink, 168 times 150 times 152. Of course, if you have high profile RAMs, they will push out the front fan a bit higher, so you will get a bit, I think I would say like half a centimeter extra. The weight is 1180 grams, and with the two fans is 1525. It supports AM5 and AM4, LGA 1700, 1200, and all the 1105X. You already know about that. So inside the box, what we get is NH-D15 G2 heatsink. We get two fans, as already stated, two NA-RC14 low noise adapters, one NA-YCI 4-pin PWM splitter cable, NTH2 thermal paste, NA-TPG1 thermal paste guard for AM5, which I shown you in the video prior to a couple of, I think it was a year ago or something. NACW1 cleaning wipe, Secure 2 plus multi-socket mounting system, 4 NMISW1 shim washers for LGA 1700, NMSD1 Torx T20 screwdriver, Noctua metal case badge. Okay, the badge is something if you want to place it on your case, let's be honest. But the first thing that you'll notice is that the NH-D15, the original version, comes with NTH1 thermal paste. This one comes with NTH2. which does create a difference. And if you check out my thermal paste benchmarks, the NTH2 really did surpass with the scores and everything the original one. Now, when we go further with this, we get loads of stuff inside this box. And first of all, to compare it to the past packaging, you get the Torx T20 screwdriver. Okay, in this scenario, you actually do need it. Then you get the thermal paste guard, which for AM5, which you don't get in older versions. And you get NACW1 cleaning wipe. So they actually boost up the package, making it quite premium. I do have to admit that. Now, of course, you don't have to worry about problems with NOCTUA coolers or fans in general, but they still give 6 years warranty. In general, when we take a closer look at the CPU tower cooler, when we compare the Gen 1 and Gen 2, we get a different and asymmetrical shape when we're talking about the G2, and we also have 6 compared to 8 heat pipes. Then we have a different passive heatsink design as well, and of course the fans. So you get loads of differences here. It really does make kind of sense that the G2 will outperform the G1. First of all, because of the heat pipes, let's be honest. Then secondly, because of the thermal paste, because I did use NTH1 on this one and I used NTH2 on the G2. Kind of makes sense to make the benchmarks proper. And of course the fans, which are designed specifically to create a better airflow through the heatsink, making it possible for a better heat dissipation. Now, if you remember the review that I did with this case, I had everything prepared. I just wanted to pimp it up with full NOCTUA fans and colors and everything all together. So we have some, I just have to state this because I know some of you will ask, because this is a specific build when we're talking about color scheme. Cable mod custom sleeved cables are right here. So we have the 12 VHP WR 24-pin and 2 8-pin EPS at the top. We have NF A1225 here on the rear, 3 at the top and 14 on the side, 214 on the side. Then we have, this is the G2 version, and as you can see, it's sticking out actually by a centimeter, sorry, because I do have Kingston Fury Renegade RAMs on the motherboard. Altogether, I wanted to, first of all, just to have equal system when I'm testing out the G1 versus G2, and I wanted to actually build this build in general because it does look quite nice, I do have to admit. I'm really digging these colors. In this color scheme and everything all together really looks quite nice. Now, for the G2, it's fairly simple to mount it on AMD processors. You do have to remove those original plastic retention brackets. You have to place their standoffs, plastic standoffs, and then you use the metal brackets that have the regular mounting and -7mm offset mounting as well. Of course, with both I used -7mm offset just to, I mean, there's no point of using a regular if the -7mm does perform much better when we're talking about the mounting of the cooler on the processor. And in these terms, when you place those mountings, you only have to basically place the thermal paste and remove the plastic cover from the cold plate, place it on the CPU, tab the 2 Torx screws and mount the fans, one here and one at the front, using the splitter, or if you're gonna go with LNA, it's all up to you to decide. So what I did is Gen 1 versus Gen 2. Here are the results. So with, as I stated, NTH1 versus NTH2, NH-D15 Gen 1 versus Gen 2. So here we go. CPU in AIDA64 Extreme Edition in both scenarios went up to 92 degrees. What I stated, the thermals are going to be fairly similar. But the clock speed with the Gen 1 went up to 4875, while in Gen 2 went to 4925. And also with the D15, the GPU went up to 72, while with the Gen 2 went up to 71. I know it doesn't make any extra meaning to the cooling and all together, but I want to mention it. So Gen 2 got 50 megahertz higher clock speed. That's outstanding. Not drastical, not like wow, but definitely outstanding. Then we go with Cinebench score. So as I stated, NH-D15 with NTH1 has 90 degrees Celsius. Clock speeds go from 4875 to 4900. This is something that is almost fixed. Then we go with NH-D15 Gen2. We have 89 to 90. Mostly it's 89, only 2 times went to 90 degrees. The clock speed from 49 at first one, 4900, and then most of the clock speeds were 4950. So again, 50 megahertz higher clock speed, which is kind of obvious because we had that in AIDA as well. And then the Cinebench scores. NH-D15 had 25,895, eventually once touching 26,000. NH-D15 Gen 2, literally every score was above 26,000, with the highest score going at 26,174. This is the difference. This is what I was telling about. 50 megahertz higher clock speed, and we get lower thermals by 1 degree, at least in my benchmarks, but we get 200, almost 300 Cinebench score points difference, which is outstanding, because this means that this one can go in pair, and I'm saying this because I did test loads of 360 AIOs, and some of them are just equal to the NH-D15 Gen 2. Equal. I literally mean equal, because they go around 26,100 to 26,200. And guess what? This one does the same. It didn't surpass 26,200, but I'm saying these numbers because they are in my benchmarks, and this is what I got. This is brilliant. The only thing that eventually what could happen if I had low profile rams and push the fan a bit further down, because low profile rams give more space for the fan to push forward, it might push even more air through the passive heatsink and get even better scores. So all in all, what I can say, comparing even to past CPU tower coolers that I managed to test out, this is definitely the best CPU tower cooler currently on the market. And I'm talking pure performance. I'm not comparing prices. And basically, when you take into consideration that if you're not into AIOs, but you want a 360 in terms of cooling performance, you get this for almost similar price, and that's it. So just because of the performance and being in par with most of the 360, well, some 360 AIOs, PC Crazy performance badge without a single doubt. I was actually shocked. I didn't expect to have this huge difference in performance comparing Gen 1 to Gen 2, but I did. And I was actually really surprised writing down the results and everything all together. It just surprised me, and I didn't expect that. I did expect a boost in performance, but not this much. So yeah, big thumbs up to Noctua again. And as I stated at the beginning, they don't create something if they don't test out like for a very long time. And if they don't have something to actually push out that they know it will perform outstandingly good with quite solid decibel range. So yeah, thumbs up, as I stated. The link is in the description for the NOCTUA NH-D15 G2. You can check out the price and everything that you need to know. And until then, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, click the notification bell, guys. See you very soon in another video. Bye-bye.